Good morning, everybody. Hopefully you had a wonderful weekend. You got all your Christmas shopping done. So just as a reminder, we will have no calls on next Monday because it'll be Christmas, and the following Monday will be because it'll be New Year's. So our next coaching call will be on January 8th. And that is one you'll want to be on because we're rolling out actually our full-blown marketing system for 2018. And it's a whole bunch of different guaranteed things that will get you in front of people. So make sure you're on that. So 5-minute money maker this week was a 20-minute video on how to get in front of highly qualified people. You probably want to watch that. And then the 5Q tape breakdown was a great example of using open-ended questions and the client knowing the script. It's nice to know every once in a while that, or hear one every once in a while where you hear an advisor doing it perfectly, and how, again, guys, we predicted 20 years ago what your clients would say 20 years in the future. So this is very powerful stuff, and you guys are we're almost halfway through or I think we are about halfway through the month. So let me get some answers to this. Where should you be on your 21-point checklist scripts right now? Reviewing those, where should you be? About what script should you be at about right now? Survivor's Guide? Correlation? Where do you think you should be? Well, Nicholas says we should be done. That'd be good, but where should you be at least? Yeah, correlation, Raymond, I'd agree. That's the end. That'd be good. But if you're going to be halfway done with the scripts, where would you be if you're halfway done? Because we're about halfway through the month. You should be at least to beneficiaries. So if you're not to beneficiaries, redoing and mastering those scripts, and guys, when I ask guys, hey, how you doing on those 21-point checklist scripts? And they say pretty good. I say, well, what do you mean by pretty good? They'll say, well, I'm getting them pretty down, not perfect, but pretty down. Is it possible? Let me ask you a question. If you're doing the tutorials as they're laid out, is it possible for me to hear you say that you got them down pretty good? Raymond says no. Wade says no. Tom says no. Nicholas says no. Dale says no. You guys are right. Jonathan says no. So no, you can't, because how are the tutorials laid out? Should you have moved on to the next one if you haven't mastered this one? I mean, what do I say over and over and over again in the tutorials? To follow it exactly, Raymond. So that if even within the tutorial tape, I say, listen, if you haven't got this part of it done, reverse the video, play it. I can then record yourself, critique yourself again. Do not move on until you've mastered it. Because if all you do is everything half-heartedly, you're just not going to get it down. So don't move on till you get locked down. So when somebody says they have it locked down, they should tell me what? They got it down pretty much, or they got it locked down? And guys, when I say locked down, and we're not talking about 100%, but are we talking 50%? Are we talking 80, 90%? Yeah, 98%. I like that, Raymond. 90, exactly. So, guys, we're gonna with the new marketing program that we have on. It's a stage 1. We have 3 choices for stage 1, 3 choices for stage 2, and stage 3 is our eye to eye. With all of those different marketing things, you're gonna get in front of as many people as you want to get in front of. So, let me ask you a question. Do you think that these marketing things we're gonna get you in front of, do you think they get you in front of pre-sold people? Good answers. No. They're getting you in front of what kind of people? Tire kickers and plate lickers. But what does the 21-point checklist do to tire kickers and plate lickers? Converts them. That's right. Converts them. So let's make sure we're still hammering those 21-point checklists. Again, all of you, I mean, not all of you, but I've told you this before. I've never had as many guys as good at the 21-point checklist as there are right now. So we've been doing this since year 2000. So in the last 17, almost 18 years, we've never had as many guys that are pretty good at the 21-point checklist. What I'm asking you to do is go from pretty good at the 21-point checklist to awesome at the 21-point checklist. Because if you're awesome at the 21-point checklist, 2018 will be you won't double, you won't triple, you won't quadruple, you'll quintuple your income next year, because every person you get in front of. Is there any reason, if you're good at the 21-point checklist, not to convert 100% of people? Good. Awesome. Everybody's getting great answers. Okay, so I just ran into, I look at everything out there, and I appreciate you guys sending me articles and sending me other things, and because sometimes I do miss things, but I do spend every day probably an hour perusing what's out there. And you've heard of these guys that say they write $30 million a year. So when I see one of those guys, I got to see what they're doing. So this guy was offering like a mini course on how he converts people at his second meeting. So he's writing $30 million a year, and hey, we'd all like to write $30 million a year. So he was talking about how he conducts his second meeting, which would be the equivalent of our disclosure meeting or advisor director meeting or the 21-point checklist meeting. So what does he do? Well, here's what he does. So he had like a 12-page booklet on how he does this. So the first thing that he does at the second meeting, it's 4 steps, 1, 2, 3, 4 steps. First thing he does is during that disclosure meeting, he has them dream about what a perfect life would look like. You know, what would it be like to have financial security? What would it be like to have financial success and time freedom? What would it be to build your dream house and be debt free? What would it feel like? So that's what he recommends first. And then he says, listen, you can do better. I can help you do those things. I have a better plan. I can get you more income. I can get you higher rates of return. I can lower your taxes. I can do better for you. And then close them. You know, once they're convinced that you can do better, you should close them. And then you should go ahead and schedule the next appointment to move the money. So of those 4 steps, which of the 4 steps, how many of those 4 steps do you think I agree with? Nicholas got it 1. Yep, 1 of them. And guess which one it is? Well, let's go to the first one. Yeah, step 4, you're right, Wade. So what did we talk about? Having them talk about being debt-free and financial security and dream of their success and dream of their time freedom. Who can give them those things? First of all, the people we want to work with, are they driving the cars that they want? Are they going out to eat when they want? Are they going on vacation when they want? So trying to get them to dream of a better life, guess what they think? Yeah, it'd be great to have a better life, but guess what? I have a pretty darn good life right now. I'm doing the things I want to do. Things are good. See, we are going after very difficult people. They have a chicken in the pot. Not only do they have a chicken in the pot, they got a pie in the oven. They're doing great. They're doing great. So when you try to convince them that they don't have what they want, guess what kind of reception you're going to get? Now, if you want to work with poor people, this would be a good thing to do. If you want to work with 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds that are building their wealth, this would be a great thing to do. But for the people we want that are retired, that have money, when you try to do these kind of things, and remember, they're baby boomers. They're baby boomers. So you try to get baby boomers to do dreamscaping, dream of what could be better, how do they react to that? What do they know immediately that you're trying to do? What do they smell on your breath? Yeah, selling. Selling. So we can't do that. That's stupid. Next thing we do is we try to tell them that you have a better solution. You can help them save taxes. You can get them a higher income. You can get better rates of return. What's wrong with that? Beauty pageant mentality, exactly. It's the beauty pageant mentality. If all we do is try to tell them that we can do better, Jeff, what's the problem with telling people that we can do better for them?
Well, the problem with telling them we can do better is they're doing good enough. They're not gonna leave. 2 problems really. They feel like they're doing okay. If you show them something better, they'll just say, well, I'll have to think about it. I mean, I'm doing really good. I've made close to 300% since the last market downturn. How much better could it really be? But then the second problem is they're just going to start peppering you with questions like what? What are you going to show me? What are you going to do?
And then who are they going to do that with once you tell them?
Their advisor. 9
times out of 10, yep. So the problem with saying you can do better is, first of all, let's say they believe you. Will anybody believe you, a stranger that you've only known for a couple of weeks? Is it possible for them to believe you more than 99%? First of all, let's agree with that. Is it possible for them to believe you more than 99%? I think 99% is over the top. But can we agree they won't believe you more than 99%? And if they're doing if they're doing well now, excuse me, if they're doing well now, and they think I don't really need anything more, I've got everything I need. Now I'll take free money, I'll take more income. Yeah, that's all great stuff. But wait a minute, if there's even a 1% chance that this new guy is wrong, has made a mistake, or is pulling my leg, should I take a risk on it? If there's just if I have everything I want right now, and there's a 1% chance that this guy is making a mistake, excuse me a second, is making a mistake or is pulling my leg, what will I do? Why take the risk? Even a 1% risk, they won't take it. So this whole thing, you can do better, is not the way to go. Because isn't that what you guys have been doing forever before you came on to 5Q? Is that what all the other advisors do? I can do better, I can do better, I can do better. It does not work for the people we want. Then close the sale. Do we ever close the sale? No. At the end of the 21-point checklist, what we say is, we ask them these questions. Do you have a clearer picture of where you are now than when we first started? And what do they say to that? Yes. And they say, do you want to keep doing what you're doing, or do you think you should make some changes? And what do they say? We should make some changes. And then I say, do you want me hands-on with these changes, or is this more of an academic exercise? And what do they say to that? I want you hands-on. So what do they say? They're asking you in. And then I say, well, let's do this. Covered a lot of things. We'll make an appointment for a week out. Give time for the dust to settle. Give time for you to come up with some good high-quality questions. Then we'll just get together and move forward at your pace. Does that sound like a close, guys? No. But that's what we do. Why? Because what they found, psychology has found that the more you put the decision in their hands, the more likely they move forward, or the less likely they move forward. The more you put the decision in their hands, the more they likely move forward. The more you try to push them, especially baby boomers, the more you try to push them forward, guess what they do? Resist. Resist, resist, resist. So they can't do this either. So the only one I would agree with is schedule the appointment now. Schedule the appointment now. That one I do. They should never leave your office without another appointment on the calendar. So that's the only thing I agree with. So here's the question then. How are they writing 30 million? Well, for those of you, there are several FMOs, or a few FMOs, the FMOs are having fabulous success. The FMOs are having huge success. And here's how they're having huge success. By doing these four things. Because they'll say, hey, how would you like to blah, 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 do better? And how would you like to do better? And I've got better solutions. And let's close that deal right now. So when you do that, what do you think the deals are closing? Big deals or small deals? Small deals. Because what they're doing is they're getting the money. So when they do these, for example, the FMOs I'm talking about is the ones that have seminars every single week, 4 seminars or 3 or 4 seminars every single month. That's what they have their guys do. And so the guy makes, he closes $100,000 worth of business, makes $6,000. What's that $6,000 give him? What's the $6,000 give him? Enough to do what? Another seminar the next week. Then he closes another 100,000, and he's getting the 100,000 by 25,000 here, 50,000 here, 25,000 here. So he's getting these small deals, and they'll amount to 100,000, 150,000. So he makes just enough money to what? Do another seminar, do another seminar. So at the end of the month, he's written maybe $500,000. But where did that $500,000 go? So on that $500,000, he made $30,000. But what did the $30,000? It went all to marketing. Now tell me, but when the FMO has 300 guys, not 150 guys like us, but 300 guys doing that, are they happy if all those 300 guys are writing $400,000 a month? They're ecstatic, man. Look at how much money they're making. Because are they paying for any of the marketing? Or they do make a little bit. They do pay a little bit of the marketing when? After you become a medium-sized producer or a large producer. I guarantee you, if all you're writing is $500,000 a month, you're not going to pay for your marketing. So that means you're just making enough to survive. Not only that, but you're running how hard on that gerbil wheel to make a living. You know, it doesn't not make sense. So we don't want you doing that. We want, when you're in front of somebody, because the deals are closing are the $25,000 and $50,000 deals. Why are they getting those $25,000 or $50,000 deals? Because do the clients need to go back to their current advisor to ask for that money, or is it the $25,000 they have tucked away from an orphaned 401k, or the little inheritance they got from their mom, or it's the little money. The money that those advisors are getting, is it from their current advisor? Is it from their client's current advisor? No, it's the money the advisor didn't know about. That's why they're so small. That's such small tickets. That's why they're such small tickets. And because if they go to the advisor for the $300,000 deal to get all their money, what's their advisor going to say? Hey, advisor, we'd like to pull $300,000 out. What's the advisor going to say? Why do you need that? Well, I met this guy and he's got this great idea. So when they say that to their advisor, what's the advisor going to say? One of two things. What's the advisor going to say? Yeah, I can do that. That's one till. That's right, Wade. I can do that. What else might he say? That's right, Nicholas. He'll poo-poo it. So either way, so we don't want to do that. So that's why if you learn the 21-point checklist, you guys have gotten so many who are good at the 21-point checklist. I'm just asking you to go from good to terrific. Because when you're good, you can close a lot of deals. When you're terrific at it, every single person you get to that you want moves that money to you. So these guys that are writing 30 million, are they really writing 30 million? What's the check? Because I looked, they do have their names on $30 million worth of business. How did they get their name on $30 million worth of business? Who's signing the app? Just them? Or did they put people in, do marketing, get other advisors in front of those people, and then they sign the app with them? Which one do you think? Did they sign the app solely, or they're splitting the commission, right, Nicholas? So, guys, when you hear something, if you hear somebody's got this great system, you got to put it to the litmus test is, does that even make sense? Because you know what? Because if you heard a guy say, listen, what you need to do is have them dreamscape first, and then what you got to do is show them that you can do better solution, and then you got to close them. What does that sound like? Doesn't that sound like what you were doing before you came on to 5Q? Getting people to dream about what's better, showing them that you got better solutions, doing the beauty pageant, and then closing them. Isn't that kind of how all the advisors in the industry conduct business? Except for us? Yay or nay? Yay or nay? Yeah. So if that's the case, why is he magically writing 30 million? It doesn't make sense to me. Why? He's better at dreamscaping? He's got does he have better solutions than us guys or anybody else? Or has he got the same solutions everybody else has? So you got to put the litmus test and I have guys, everyone say, this guy's writing 30 million. Just because somebody says they're writing 30 million, should you believe them? No. So that's occasionally I want to just remind us guys that unfortunately the attorney generals out there and the consumer protection bureaus, do they protect us? Do they protect us from the guys that lie to us? No. They can lie to us all day long. Yeah, Michael's saying, yeah, I got a guy here in town that writes $30 million, but he has four advisors underneath him, and he spends $200,000 on mailers and $23,000 a month on radio and TV. So, duh, right? So, thanks, Michael. So, just a little idea that popped. I don't know why I had not thought about this before. For if you still have clients that you have not done a 21 light with because they didn't want to meet with you, or you had so many clients it was hard to get back to them. I mean, first of all, you need to do 21 lights with all of your clients. If you have not done them, you need to go back and do them. But the most efficient way to do it is with all at one time. So if you've got clients that you haven't done 21 lights with because they said no, or they were out of town, or they didn't have time, or you had so many people it was hard to get back to, think about this. Do a brown bag lunch with them and do the 21 light in front of them all at one time. You don't even have to do them independently. Do it all at one time. So under the 21 Lite process, so you go to Getting Started Toolbox, 21 Lite process, we now have a presentation where you can do the 21 Lite in PowerPoint form right there in front of them. You can do it in your office, you can do it at a library, you can do it wherever you would like. And, with your clients, just, either have a breakfast where you have bagels and coffee and juice, or you could have donuts and coffee and juice, or you could do a lunch where you actually just cater in brown bag lunch or a box lunch and do those 21 lights in front of them all at one time. This is also something you can do if you want to get in front of, say, an assisted care living facility or a retirement community, something like that. You can also use this presentation. So this is something else that we have on there for you guys to be able to use. So the main topic for today is the middle class millionaire. Middle class millionaire. How do we get at them? And there's lots of them out there. Well, the New Yorker did a study. The New Yorker magazine did a study of 1,417 middle class millionaires. 1 million, 10 million. Is my audio breaking up for everybody?
It's breaking up just a little bit for me.
How bad is it? Should I just try? I'm calling up.
It's breaking up a little for me, but I can still understand you.
Okay, guys, I'm gonna
You
try something.
sound like you're talking in a can. You're not. We can hear everything you're saying. It just sounds like you're talking to a can.
I'm gonna just to see if we can't fix this. I'm gonna try to. I'll be right back in 1 minute, guys. Okay, right back in 1 minute. Hello.
Yep, we can hear you good.
Hello.
Yep.
Okay,
Sounds
is that
good.
better? Am I breaking up anymore?
Yep. Nope. Sounds great.
Okay, the New Yorker study of 1,417 middle-class millionaires, those between 1 and 10 million. Isn't that our wheelhouse? Those are the people that are our wheelhouse. So how do we get at them, or how do we deal with them? First of all, here's the funny thing. Do you think people with $1 to $10 million view themselves as rich? No, they don't. You're right. They do not. In fact, what they found is that they believe 17 million or more. The average, they interview these people with 1 to 10 million, on average, they thought you needed to have 17 million to be rich. So why do I bring that up? So their attitudes are those of somebody who has nothing to worry about, or are they still worried about things that the typical middle class person is worried about? They're still worried about those typical things the middle class people are worried about. So what are their concerns? Well, number one is they have a fear of loss of wealth. Now, is fear of loss of wealth the same as worrying about running out of money? No, you're right. What are they worried about? What are they Yes, lifestyle loss. So 88.6% of them are worried about lifestyle, loss of lifestyle. I fall into that category where I have enough money. I never have to worry about running out of money. But I do worry about is, will I ever have to change my lifestyle? That's exactly what I'm worried about. Not running out of money, changing out a lifestyle. And 88.6% of them are worried about that. So do you think they're all worried about making a ton of money? Or are they more worried about making sure that what they have now never goes away? They're more worried about making sure they never. And I just read, this is kind of as an aside. In percentage-wise, what group of people have the most money in the market right now? 65 and up, or 40 to 65, or 40 to 30, or 30 to 20. So percentage-wise, not amount of money that they have in there, but what percentage has the most? 65 and up, 40 to 65. I'm sorry, 50 to 65. So it's a 65 plus. That's right. So I got two people who said 65 and up. Guys, what's the problem with that? What's the problem with that? Yeah, of all the groups, who should it not have that? Should that not be the case? But right now, what do people believe about the stock market? You know what? The millennials have the least. The ones that are 30 to 40 have the least percentage in there. It's not because they don't have money. They got money. They're popping it into guaranteed things. Why aren't the millennials putting money into the stock market? The people who actually need to be putting money in the stock market, why aren't they putting money in the stock market? They don't trust it. You're right, Wade. Why? They saw 2 major crashes in their lifetime. They don't trust it at all. Why do people 65 and up do trust the stock market? Why do people 65 and up trust the stock market? What did they live through? They lived through the roaring 90s. And they think, hey, if that happened once, it can happen again. Yeah, how often does the roaring 90s happen, guys? How often does the roaring 90s happen in a lifetime? Yeah, once in a lifetime, once every 100 years. Exactly right, Raymond. But they're counting on it happening again. That's just a little offside. I was amazed that was the case. The very people who should not have all their money in the market do have their money in the market. The ones that they're going to take it, and they're going to take it in the shorts when things change. And again, how do we ever have an inkling of when the market's going to change, or does it just do it? It just does it. So it's not about the money, it's about their lifestyle. And also, they want holistic planning. What do we mean by holistic planning? They want a guy who's not just talking about what? They want a guy or a gal who's not just talking about the money, right? That's talking not only about the money, but how they should provide for their kids, how they should be utilizing Medicare, they want the whole kit and caboodle. They want holistic planning. Does that bode well or not well for us at 5Q? It's exactly what what is the 21-point checklist? It's holistic planning. It's not, it is about way more than the money. They want to make sure that their family is protected. What is all the non-financial things about? Family insecurity. And how long, with the 21-point checklist, when done appropriately, what's the minimum time we should spend on the non-financial if you're doing the 21-point checklist light? You can go longer, but what's the minimum for spending on, 45 minutes. Minimum of 45 minutes. You can go longer, but no shorter than 45 minutes. Because, Jeff, is it just about covering those non-financial items? Because you could cover those I've seen guys on tapes cover those non-financial items, all of them, in about 5 to 10 minutes. So what's the matter with that, Jeff?
Well, the problem with that is it doesn't seem like it's very important to you. And if it's not important to you, it's not going to feel important to them. And so,
and also, how do they present it in 5 to 10 minutes?
Oh, they'll say something like this. They'll say, okay, the next thing we need to talk about, the first thing we need to talk about is a survivor's guide. So here's a survivor's guide. I'll let you guys take that home. You can always fill that out when you get a chance. It's just for your family if anything happens to you. We want to talk about your will and your trust, and I see that you guys have one. So I've got a checklist here, and you guys can look at that at your own pace. And if there's anything on that list that you have questions about, you can always come back and talk to me. Power of attorney.
So guys, anything that comes out of Jeff's mouth is a what? That's the advisor. Anything that comes out of Jeff's mouth is a what? I got one. Nicholas has got it right. Anything that comes out, guys, anything that comes out of an advisor's mouth is what? That's right, Jeannie, sales. And Nicholas said it, it's a lie. Why is anything that comes out of our mouth a lie as far as they're concerned? Why? Why are they suspect? Why would we tell them to do anything in their minds? Why do we tell them to do anything in their minds? Yes, to sell them something, Raymond, to sell them something, Mike. We're just, so they think the only reason Jeff's telling me these things is to try to sell me something. So they need to tell you why the survivor's guide is important.
What Jeff says about the service guys care less. They need to tell me that the power of attorney is important and that any advisor worth their salt is going to be covering that, and that this. So they need to tell me these things. If I tell them these things, guess what? In one ear, out the other, because they're like, the only reason he's covering this stuff is just to get me to move the money. Does that make sense? Another issue, even if they've got $10 million, guess what they're concerned with? And not just health, but how they're going to what? Pay for it. Healthcare costs. That's what they're worried about. Even people at $10 million are worried about healthcare costs. And here's the thing. Who's going to spend more on healthcare? Rich people or poor people? Rich people. You got it, Nicholas. Why rich? Why rich people? Right, Raymond? Why? They can afford it, but they're also going to live what? Chances are they're going to live what? Longer. So all the actuarial information now is that rich people spend by far way more money on Medicare, both because they can do what do you say? Not optional, but what's the other word? Not optional. Come on, help me, somebody. Optional type procedures, but elective. Thank you.
Alternative.
Elective. Raymond, yeah, elective things, but also because they're going to live longer, and when you live longer, you're more likely to have chronic conditions, and chronic conditions cost moolah. So they're worried about healthcare costs. So do we have any solution that addresses healthcare costs? Yes. They're also worried about reducing taxes. Now, here's the thing. I covered earlier, 2 or 3 weeks ago, about being able to talk about Social Security and how to reduce their taxes on Social Security. And some guys, I actually had 2 or 3 people say, Mike, you said, I don't know how you could do that. You said you used to do mock tax returns in front of them at the first meeting in 5 minutes. That seems impossible. I don't know how you could possibly do that. That seems, there's so much stuff here with 21-point checklist, and now you're asking me to do the tax in 5 minutes? No, I'm not asking you to do that. All I'm saying, though, is, guys, after I did 100 tax returns, guess what? After you did 100 mock tax returns, guess what you'd be able to do? You're only dealing with you're only dealing with about 7 blanks. If you did 100 mock tax returns, guess what you'd be able to do it? That's right, Raymond. You'd be able to do it in 5 minutes. So if you truly desired that as a skill, guess what you would do? 100 mock tax returns. You could do it in the weekend. I guarantee you that if you decided by Monday morning I'm going to be awesome at mock tax returns, guess what you'd be able to do by Monday morning? You could do mock tax returns in 5 or 10 minutes. You know, other people. One of the things that I've done too. You know, why do I like doing the mock tax return in front of them at that first meeting? Why do I like doing it? What's it say about me? What's it say about me? Professional or not professional? Expert or not an expert? Have they ever seen anybody do that? Even their accountant. Have they even seen their accountant do that in front of them? You know, the other thing is that I used to, or still do, write upside down. I write better upside down than I write upside right. And guys will say, how can you do that? That's crazy. How can you write upside down? Well, guess what? I had a guy say, that's crazy. So for one Saturday afternoon, guess what he did? For hour upon hour, wrote upside down. Guess what he could magically do then by the end of that Saturday afternoon? Right upside down. See, because I'm sitting across from the client, I'd like to, and I don't want to be switching the booklet back and forth. I just write upside down right on their booklet. So these are just little things that make you look like a professional in their eyes. So what do they view as important? Well, 81% of them say when negotiating, coming out a winner is very important to achieving financial success. This is a huge, in fact, our whole system, the 5Q system, is actually based upon this premise. So we actually are playing into what 81% of all the people we're in front of, people that have money, especially that have money or baby boomers, play into. How does the 5Q system leverage the fact that these people with money think that when negotiating, coming out a winner is very important to achieving financial success? Why is our whole system based around that. Very good, Jonathan. You got it. Nicholas has got it. Yeah, Jerry, you're making a good point there. Guys, why is it? When I'm done talking with somebody, who do they think made the decision? Wade's got it. Okay, everybody's getting it. They think they made the decision. That's right. So if you try to sell them, guess what they're going to do? They're going to go along, or they're going to push back. If they believe that negotiating, come out on a winner, is very important to achieving financial success, if you try to sell them something, guess what they're going to do through the whole process? Fight, 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 resist, resist, resist. By using 5Q and motivational interviewing, by not telling, preaching, teaching, but instead letting them make their own decisions, letting them feel like they're in control, guess what? We're doing what 81%. Do you see the power of what we're doing with people with money? And that's the thing. The more money they have, the more powerful motivational interviewing becomes. That's why, that $30 million guy we talked about earlier, yeah, you can sell people $25,000 ticket and $50,000 tickets by just selling, doing presentations, pushing products. You can. Can you do that with people with lots of money? What's going to happen if you try to do that with people with lots of money? Ain't going to work. They'll give you 25 grand, but they're not going to let you touch the other 2.5 million. But when you do, people with 2.5 million, guess what they want? They want to feel like they won. They want to feel like they're the one that made the decision. They want to feel like they were in complete control and you were not. And that our whole system is built with an iron fist and a velvet glove. Do they ever feel like I'm in control? Or do they feel like they're in control? If you're doing it right, they should feel like they are in control. So the leverage is motivational interviewing. The leverage is not telling, selling, preaching, teaching, but instead letting them make their own decisions. How many people should, if somebody at the end of your presentation says, I need to think about it, what do you know you did? If they say, I need to think about it, what do you know they did? Well, you failed. Why did you fail? What were you doing wrong? That's right, Jerry. Somebody else. What are you doing wrong if they say, I need to think about it? Yeah, you're selling, telling, preaching, and teaching is what you were doing. Because if you do it right, they've been thinking about it 100, think about it. In minimum, you should be asking 2 open-ended questions per minute. I ask 4 or 5, but if you ask 2 a minute, if you ask half of what I ask, that's still going to be 2 a minute. And if you spend an hour with them, how many open-ended questions is that? 120. So how many times have they told you or thought out loud? 120 times. So guess what they don't say at the end of that hour? I need to think about it. They've been thinking about it 120 times over that hour. Does that make sense? 5% say that cutting back on little luxuries is very important in achieving financial success. This is also a point that we just made here a few minutes ago. How many of them want to cut back on the little luxuries? How many of them? None. So does that mean they're trying to make as much money possible, or they want to make sure they're never in a position where they have to downgrade their car, downgrade their vacation, downgrade where they go out to eat? What do they never want to do, guys? They never want to what? Downgrade. So they're not looking to be rich. They just want to never have to cut back on what they're doing right now. So if we told them, listen, we could probably make you a lot of money, 90% chance of making you a lot of money, but there's 10% chance that we may go down and you have to cut back on these little luxuries for the next 2 or 3 years, let alone 13 years what it actually took. But let's say it only 2 or 3 years to get back to ground even. What would they tell you? Would they want to do that? No, they don't. Especially when they're retired. 2 or 3 years, when you're retired, what could happen to your life, your health, your family in 2 or 3 years when you're retired? A lot. 71% say knowing many, many people is important to achieving financial success. This is important not to how we sell, but on what we could do after the sale, which is what? People with money know lots of people. Referrals, right. Referrals, referrals, referrals. 58%, this is huge. 58% have 2 or more advisors or relationships. Guys, if you do the 21-point checklist right, how many relationships are you going to have? 1. 1, 1, 1. Which means you get all of the money. 14% say they are loyal to their advisor. This is important. Only 14% say they're loyal to their advisor. How do we leverage that? That means how many people are in play right now? What percentage of people are in play right now? 86%, right. 47% say they are moderately satisfied. Guys, if somebody's moderately satisfied, well, first of all, do you think I'm worried if they say they're loyal to their client, to their advisor? Do you think me personally that I'm worried about it? No. In fact, what I find, if they say they're loyal to the advisor, I'm even happier. Why am I even happier when they say they're loyal to their advisor? That's right. They get even more pissed, Jonathan. See, do I expect a stranger to take advantage of me? Yes. Do I expect somebody that I'm only moderately know to take advantage of me? I guess that doesn't beyond the realm of expectations. But do I expect somebody that I'm loyal to be disrespectful for me? No. So I don't care. I mean, but here's the thing: even if you're not as good as what I am, and so you don't have the skills yet. You will get those skills, but you don't have the skills yet to get these 14%. It still means that basically 86% of them are in play. Because if somebody says, what do you think I'm thinking? If my client says they're satisfied with me, am I happy or not happy? I am not happy. You are correct. I am not happy. Because you know what satisfied people are? They're there waiting until what? What are satisfied people doing? They're waiting until what? They find something better. Loyal people are not looking. Loyal people are not looking. Satisfied people are looking. They're going to stay with a guy because they're satisfied, but they are looking casually for anything else out there. When they find something better, they are gone. So what do you want from me? So what are they looking for from advisors? First of all, they want character. So is the 5Q system about character, about spending as much time on the negative things as the positive things, about making sure they completely understand what it is they're doing before they're going on, about never pushing them, about putting them in the driver's seat? Is the 5Q system about character? Yes, it's all about character. Is there chemistry? Do we build chemistry with people? After, I've asked this question before. When people first start doing the 21-point checklist, their meetings are longer than they would typically be as they get better and better at it. So when a little old lady has been doing the 21-point checklist, a 75-year-old lady has been doing the 21-point checklist for 3 hours, how does she feel? 3 hours in a meeting with a financial advisor, 75 years old, how does she feel at the end of that meeting when they're doing it right? Yeah, energized, great, feels good. Yes, why? Why do they feel energized, great? Why? When is the last time, that's right, Nicholas, we listened. When was the last time they sat with somebody for 3 hours and that person was enraptured in what they were saying? And every time they said something, gave them a little verbal pat on the back for giving good answers. When was the last time that happened? You know what that builds when you do that, guys? You know what that builds? Chemistry like you wouldn't believe. They think you are the best conversationalist in the world. You got to show that you care. How do we show that we care? See, the problem is in today's world, people, especially boomers, they're not going to buy from you until they can trust you. But you can't show they can trust you until they buy from you. They're not going to buy from you until you show that you care. You can't show that you care until they trust you. How do we show that we care? The non-financials, exactly right. We talk about the non-financials, things we do not get paid for but are extremely important to them. So is the 5Q address that? And we need to contact them. They need to be contacted regularly. So when we contact, and that's what the epidemic marketing is about. That's why we give you the email. That's why we want you to be constantly doing little events for your clients and thank you events and things like that. You got to be contacting people regularly. And we have so many tools to do that now. Make sure you are contacting people regularly. And if you use the epidemic marketing on your prospects, guess what? Then what's the number one reason people leave their current advisor? Rate of return? Not very good at investing? That's right. No communication, Nicholas. No communication. That's right, Wade. So contact those prospects, and eventually they're going to figure out, you know what? This guy who doesn't even have my business is contacting me more than the guy that I give the business to. So as soon as that guy makes a mistake, the other guy, boom, they call you. They're looking for competence. So why did I tell you that learning how to do, you don't need to do this, but why would learning to do mock tax returns be a good thing? It shows that you're what? Knowledge, skill, and attitude. I can do attitude. Writing upside down, guess what that does? It shows that I'm competent. Service, giving great service as a consultant, a consultative service. So selling them or being a consultant, that they're looking for consultative service. So what's the 5Q system about? Selling or consulting? If you're doing it right, what is it? Selling or consulting? I'm getting more people consulting. That's right, consulting. So far, are we giving them everything they want? They're also looking for something that's cost effective. Guys, are people getting more and more or less attuned to fees? More. So we need to be showing that we give them a lot more value than they're being charged. And we've talked about this. If DOL comes into fruition, doesn't come to fruition, it doesn't matter. People are going to become more and more sensitive to fees. So even with on the money management side, what do we say? So if we think about this. If we put 50% of the money in FIAs, 50% of the money in the market, and we're charging, say, 1% on the market, how much are we charging then at that point on their portfolio? 0.5%. That's right, 0.5%. And are we only managing their money for that 0.5%? No. What are we doing? All those non-financial things. So when we tell people that we're managing their money, we say on average you'll be paying 0.5% for what? For all of these things that I do, making sure the survivor's guide is in place, making sure this is in place and this is in place. And why do we cover the non-financial things at the beginning of every annual review? To remind them of what? Why do we cover the non-financial things, go over the survivor's guide with them again, make sure they have it in place, go over the power of attorney, make sure it's updated and notarized? Why do we go over through that? It shows that we care, and it shows that we have value. It shows that 0.5% is a good value or a bad value. Guys, because every magazine, every person they talk to, every relative, every thing that they read is going to continue to tell them that what? Fees are what? Bad. But 0.5% in today's world, is that a pretty decent fee? Yeah, that's a way good fee. And it's 0.5% a good fee when you're also doing all these other things that nobody else is doing. Then what's it come value-wise? What's it become? Unbelievable. So, but if you forget to tell them about the value that you provide on your annual reviews, like going over the non-financial, will they forget? Yes. So don't let them forget. Always begin your annual reviews with covering the non-financial things. Oops. Oh, and they do no longer want financial planners. They want wealth managers. And what's the difference with wealth managers? Well, financial planners are doing financial planning, asset allocation, and asset management. Who does that sound like? How many people in our industry does that sound like? What percentage of people? High percentage, low percentage? Yeah, most. They don't want those people. People with money don't want those people. They want wealth managers. People also talk about estate planning and tax planning. Are we wealth managers or financial planners? Think about this before you answer it. Don't type in yet. Are we financial planners or wealth managers? This is a trick question. What are we? See how many of you get it right. Jerry's got it. Nope, just Jerry so far. Only Jerry, very good. You're the only one getting the right answer. Jerry, I'd go along with yours, Raymond. I'll give you credit for that too. We are beyond, what Jerry said is we're beyond wealth managers. What do? Do we only do financial planning, asset allocation, asset management, estate planning, and tax accounting? Is that are there other things in the 200-point checklist that have nothing to do with these things? We do all these things. Absolutely, we do all these things. Do we do all these things as 5Q? Yes, we do, as a wealth manager. But what else do we do? More or less? Yes, much, much more. So when you get in front of wealthy people, how impressed are they with the 5Q system, the 21-point checklist? Little impressed or a lot of impressed? Guys, this is exactly what they're looking for. So when you've mastered those things, when you've mastered the crib notes and the motives, when you're doing your daily practice, guys, how many of you are doing your MIFT? Let me see an answer to this. How many of you are doing your MIFT every working day? You're 15. You start your 15. I got 1. I got 2. Come on. I hope it's more than 2. 3, 5. Keep going. Oh, good. 6. Awesome. So now I'm getting a few more people. Now, but I'm not getting nearly as much as is on the call. Guys, what is the most, why do you think I call it the most important 15 daily? What would happen to your practice if during the first 15 minutes you arrived at your office, you did not look at email, you did not look at voicemail, you did not talk to your accountant, you did not open up your Wall Street Journal, you did not do any of those things for the first 15 minutes? I want everyone to answer this. What would happen to your practice if you did none of those things for the first 15 minutes? If all you did was sat in your office and looked at your wall for 15 minutes, what would happen to your practice? Yeah, nothing. Nothing. So what if you invested that 15 minutes in doing the 15 minutes daily? Guys, when you do that 15-minute drill, I've been doing this for 20 years, and I still do the 15-minute drill every single day. Why? Why do I do it every day? You guys are like, I can never be like Mike. Oh, Mike's got all these skills and my blah, blah. Bull crap. If I quit doing the 15-minute drill, guess what my skill level would be? It'd be decreasing every single day. So a year from now, I'd be half of the skill level I have right now. So it's practicing this every day. So make sure you're doing your 15 minutes daily. Make sure you're paying attention to the 5-minute money maker and the tape breakdowns. So when you do that and you master those 21-point checklists, and again, I've never had a group of guys that were more committed to the 21-point checklist than you guys are. Thank you so much. And all I'm asking you, I'm begging you, spend the rest of December, get awesome at the 21-point checklist, because you're going to have more people than you know what to do with to get in front of next year. And if you're closing every one of them, you're not going to see a doubling. You're not going to see a tripling, quadrupling. You're going to see a quintupling of your income. So let's get serious about doing these things that are on the screen right now, okay? So again, we have the next Monday is December 25th. The next one is January 1st. So we won't be meeting the next 2 Mondays, but the following Monday, make sure you're on that call, because we're going to be rolling out the new marketing, and make sure you're how good at what before we're on that call a couple weeks from now. 3 weeks from now. The 21. Awesome. You guys have a great rest of the year. Appreciate all your hard work this year, and talk to you here in 2018. Thanks, everybody.